CBS today. Remember the story we had yesterday with the kids protesting at Jefferson County, Colorado? The school board curriculum changes, didn't want to be taught capitalism. Well, here we have Stephanie Ross. Stephanie Ross is a Wheat Ridge School history teacher from that district on CBS this morning.
If we can't talk about the struggles that people go through in history to gain a greater equality, a greater America, how can we convey a true story and convey a complete picture to our students?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a history teacher. This is a history teacher, and she is proud of the fact that her students want to eschew capitalism and instead think that America's greatness is about diversity, and that's what they want to be taught. Let me ask you a quick question. Is the story of America the struggle for equality? Is that what you think the story of America is? She says here, if we can't talk about the struggles that people go through in history to gain a greater equality, how can we convey a true story and convey a complete picture to our students? Has that been the story of America? The story of America struggled for equality. What do you think about it? Is that what our story is? Is that what the founding of America was about? The struggle for equality? Think about it for just a second. Back after this. The struggle for America. The story of America is not the struggle for equality. That was, for lack of a better word, acknowledged in the Declaration of Independence. And the Constitution, in its own ways, dealt with the premise in several of the Bill of Rights. The story of America is the struggle for freedom, ladies and gentlemen. Not equality. Not fairness. Not diversity. Not all of these things that modern liberal high school and middle school teachers think are important. America is diverse in more ways than most other countries could be trying to be. There already is more equality in premise alone in this country than most human beings have ever known. The story of America is the struggle of freedom from a controlling, dictatorial, statist, tyrannical central government or power. That is the story of this country. That is the story that sets this country apart from every other country. The struggle for equality is a subset, if anything, to the principle of freedom. There can be no equality, and there can be no diversity, and there can be no fairness unless there is freedom. Freedom is what this country was all about. Freedom for average, ordinary, common, everyday people. Common, ordinary, everyday people were the stars in this country. Not the leaders, not the elected officials. This country was founded on the premise that all men are created equal, certain inalienable rights, among them life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. That's all in the Declaration of Independence. Why were we separating from the tyranny of Britain? Freedom. Because it was assumed it was proclaimed that freedom is instilled in every human being by virtue of creation by God. And that it is man, men, women, whoever, who attempt to deny that freedom from average, ordinary, everyday, call them whatever you want, people. And the founders had had enough of it. They had studied immensely the history of the world up to their point in time. They had found the horror stories and what they thought were the recipes. And that became the United States of America for the first time in the history of the world. And this is the true American exceptionalism. For the first time in the history of the world, a country was founded on the premise that its people run the show and that its government is subservient to the people. That the people are governed and lead lives according to the natural born freedom they had. The reason why it's a struggle is because up until that time, and since that time in other parts of the world, the history of humanity has been tyranny. The history of humanity has been bondage in some cases, torture, tyranny, no economic freedom. The history of the world has been the subjugation, the subordination of individuals to government, dictatorial control. That's the story of America. But apparently, out in Denver, Colorado, and I'm sure other places, young, hip, liberal teachers are inculcating young skulls full of mush with the idea that this country is flawed. This country denies equality to people and freedom and fairness and what have you. Because that's what they've been taught when they went to college to learn how to be teachers. And that bogus premise of the purpose of this country and the history of this country has just been recycled over and over again, generation after generation.